So now, lyrically, like, you mentioned some of the songs, and before I forget, I wanted to ask, Loman recently played me the studio version of the song Through You, which
Mhm.
was not recorded in a studio to my knowledge back in
Right.
1990. And
Mhm.
I wanted to ask, how did that recording come about? Was it just you guys kind of, hey, we can do this in the studio, let's do it kind of
Well,
thing?
Gavin replaced Hartsfield in
Done
Dundying
dying.
for the final stretch of Dundying, and that was a song that Gavin and I always hate had been kind of left left untracked. Like I think we both feel that it's maybe not the best, but one of the best Carrie Nation songs.
Mm.
To me, it's a fun song to sing, and it does some really interesting things with its rhythm up front. So from a creative standpoint, it was just either one of us could write "Face the Nation," the song "Face the Nation" in 10 minutes. Yeah, Through You actually takes some doing. So we wanted to get it out there, and here we are again, and we're with a band that had been accused of sounding like Carrie Nation anyway in Done Dying. So let's go ahead and knock this out.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that because, like, I mean, I'm a fan of all of it, but Through You was one of those songs I remember, Spanky's, and it was one of the later shows. I think it was your second to last show, and you just made a comment like, "Hey, you can't let somebody else matter more to you in a relationship than yourself. It's not healthy to you and the other person." And then you went into Through You. And the thing that I always think about is, um, you were I want to say 22, 23 when you
Mm-hmm.
wrote that. And I'm just saying that's a pretty profound thing to have kind of figured out at that age.
Well, let's be fair, and I mean fair to the negative. It was sort of self admonition because I've always been one to go off the deep end, particularly when I was younger. If I have feelings for somebody, because in a sense, in a very very loose sense, there's Through You in Carrie Nation, there's the Naked Face in 411, and there's the entire goddamn Shiners Club album, representing various levels of heartache or longing or displacement.
Was Speak in
You
there
know,
too, doing that?
no, I was relatively healthy on that front during Speak. Sorry, sir.
No, 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 nothing to apologize for. Do you ever think now question wise, these questions might seem kind of random or disjointed, but I think it speaks more to our friendship. Do you remember the night we did the acoustic rendition? Well, you weren't planning on doing it. I don't think you would have actually normally been a part of it had I given you a heads up. Do you remember the night we did the acoustic rendition of No Prisoners, you, me, and Popeye?
Not remotely. I think you're making it up.
No, it was
Did Popeye sing or did I sing?
I sang, and then I
Okay.
had you come up with me, and to my great surprise, you came up with me, and you sang
Was this like at my house watching boxing or at
no,
a
no, this
party or?
was, you were running a bar in Long Beach, and you were having bands
Oh,
play.
this was at 33 degrees.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
okay, I remember. I kind of remember it now. But we were. It was in fun.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is this was a Popeye show, to so much so to the point that Popeye made the flyer for the show, and it said acoustic ice, and then in parentheses, yes, this is really happening, and because it had to be acoustic, because there was no other way to do it. I just wanted to bring up that aspect of this. I'm looking over my questions now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I don't really understand what I wrote here. Hold on one second. Let me just wait. Hold on. No one knows when. Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna hit you with
That's
something.
good because I was rushing on ahead and almost ready to leave.
Stay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now what if I tell you that Oliver McCall is in his second comeback fight next Tuesday against Brian Cobia? Are you scared, given what happened in Las Vegas when he yelled at you when we were at the fights the night before Evander Holyfield fought John Ruiz?
Well, first off, it's news to me that Oliver McCall is still alive. So
He's 60.
he has, that he has, and he really is fighting.
Well, the Dan Raphael, who I subscribe to, wrote specifically, Oliver McCall is engaging in an ill-advised 6-round fight against Brian Cobia on the Country Box Network, which you have more subscribers on the Dano Says So podcast than Country Box. So that's pretty good.
I don't know what you're trying to say about the Dano Says So.
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
You got subscribers when I haven't done an episode in 2 years. That's great.
You've been dormant. Exactly. That's my point. You have a ton of subscribers.
Like an ingrown hair. Anyway, this would be an opportune time to say that I have 4 interviews lined up, and we'll be resuming the podcast very soon. For gimmicky reasons, I might hold off until St. Patrick's Day because the guest I'm hoping to have lined up for that one, who I'd rather not discuss, but I know you get that. But Oliver McCall, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
nobody's going to have any idea what we're talking about, but Evan and I are both obsessive boxing fans, and at a weird time in life when I had more money than was safe for me to have, I got us tickets to a few pretty big heavyweight fights in Vegas.
It was great.
One of which involved Oliver McCall fighting in a co-headline heavyweight bout where he broke his hand and finished the last couple rounds one-handedly. And when I asked him about his hand on his way back from the ring, he somehow took it as an insult and more or less challenged me. And genius that I am, I sprung immediately to my feet.
Yes.
And I don't remember exactly who got between us, but they saved my life.
So wait, speaking of this and boxing, transitioning, why, and I think, I know you've talked about this, what was your point for having, because that's Marcel Cerdan and Tony Zale on the cover of the Carry Nation record. Why that picture? Why? I mean, it's a great picture, and it's perfect for the cover, the fonts, everything. Why that choice?
Well, to be fair, you're kind of asking me a Gavin question.
Okay.
We decided vintage boxing would suit the sound, and sort of the vibe of the record. Also, you got a hard sound, and you're going to choose this nice, crunchy, violent image without having to do any dumb posturing or overly macho photography and stand in an alleyway and pretend to be somebody you're not. That just wasn't our thing. Instead, no, we'll show a couple of, guys from 40, 50 years ago with less teeth than we have.
Where did the pictures on the back happen? It looks like you guys are at like a barn.
No, I think we're out behind the studio. I think we took those pictures. I think Kirk came down and met us at the recording in the 70s.
Great photographer.
We took those out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say that he was a great photographer.
What I noticed in those pictures, the ones, particularly the ones where the three of us are sitting in front of Frank, there's one where I'm covering my eyes, and it's clear that I have not lifted a free weight in years in those pictures.